Okay, we're live again. Okay, y'all, this is part two of Hurricane Beryl impacting Jamaica. But before we get started on that, the 5 p.m. advisory came in from the National Hurricane Center, and I want to just show you the animation of what's expected for potential for the United States, because I know most of our viewers are in the States, if not all of you. So let's go ahead and animate this. And you can see it comes off the Yucatan. It hits the Yucatan on, that would be at 5 a.m. on the 5th, which is Saturday morning. No, Friday morning. Yeah, Friday morning at 5 a.m., Hurricane Beryl makes landfall well south of Cozumel and Cancun, down in the lower right-hand corner there in Punta Allen, Mexico. And then we go ahead and animate. This is what happens. It moves northwest, north of La Pesca, Mexico, and makes landfall in northern Mexico, just south of Brownsville. But Brownsville does not get the hurricane force wind field. It goes inland in Mexico. And that happens on, let's see, it's, in the middle of the night on Sunday going into Monday. Sunday night, middle of the night, and then Monday morning, it's onshore in northern Mexico. That's based on the 5 p.m. advisory from the National Hurricane Center, and that's showing the model consensus, according to the discussion, are that they're shifting a little bit south in the Gulf of Mexico. So it's looking less likely now that the United States is going to be impacted by this than it was 24, 36 hours ago. So let's go ahead and show you what's happening in the with our current position. And here's our current position, and that's about where we're at right now. It's not quite that far west. It's a little bit east of this point, but that's donut, that red thick donut. That's the core winds. Those are the ones that the hurricane hunters, the National Hurricane Center has it. It's still 140, right? Yeah, 140 mile per hour winds. It has the. Let's see if I can pull that image up again. This thing is a pain in the neck. Now I'm going to have to. So here's about where it's going to be at 6 p.m. This is about 45 minutes from now. And again, that donut, that bright yellow, are where the core of 140 mile per hour winds are located, especially on the northern side of that donut, which is just going to be clipping some of the southwest regions of Jamaica. And I'll show you some close-ups of that area in a minute. But it looks like it's going to be pulling away. And by 7 o'clock tonight, it's going to be clear. The donut of core winds are going to be clearing Jamaica. So we'll probably terminate the broadcast in about maybe 45 minutes, an hour from now. Just want to get some stamps, radar stamps, satellite of the most intense action of the hurricane as it's getting its closest approach to Jamaica. And then we'll can it. This will be for archive purposes for the database. Go back and reference when I reference it as a hit, you can see what the radar on the satellite looked like when it hit. So that's basically the purpose of doing these when they're hitting the islands. So here we go. Moves away. Negril gets some of the hurricane force winds, and the hurricane begins to pull away. At that point, it's a 135 mile per hour hurricane, and then it clears Jamaica at 9 p.m. tonight and then starts heading towards the direction of the Caymans. But the core of the hurricane is going to remain south of the Cayman Islands. They're not going to get the hurricane itself. So this will be our last broadcast, more than likely, on Hurricane Beryl. So it was the worst impacts were, well, can't say that for certain. I mean, some of these towns along the southern coastline could have the same type of damage that they got down in the Grenadines. Although the Grenadine damage is like 90% destruction, so it's really bad down there. But this will be a close second in destruction and damage for the southern coastline of Jamaica. So, again, this is where we're going to be at 6 p.m. is right here. And then we'll terminate it at that point because the core will be moving away. So speaking of the core, here is the Caribbean radar composite. And that looks, according to that radar, and Bill and I were just talking about this earlier, according to the radar, it looks like the northern eye wall is on shore, according to this composite. You see that southern coast there is getting raked according to that radar shot. But if you look at the Cuban radar, you get a little bit of a different view there. The yellows and reds are just offshore. So the question is, are they getting those really intense winds on the coast right now? And I mean, let me refresh just to make sure it's updating. But no, it's there. I mean, it's right there. And there's some dark red spots in there too. If I pinch it, you can see there's one red band that's right on that coast, and those are those 140 mile per hour winds. So it's so close, so close. And let's take a look at the radar real quick. And I mean, this is old. Let me refresh it. Let me go with a visible real quick here. Again, it takes a minute to load. Again, for those of you that missed our hit on the Grenadines last night, or on Monday night rather, or Monday, whatever it was, Monday morning. Monday morning. The archive is up. It's 19 minutes long. It's only the highlights from the 3-hour broadcast we did on that landfall, and it shows the most significant radar shots, the close-up satellites, some beautiful satellite imagery. It shows you the recon reports, some video, a little bit of video that came out of there. We didn't show any of the extreme wind video because of copyright issues, but I'm sure you're going to see aerial shots and damage coming out of there over the next several days. But my heart goes out to the people in the Grenadines because, the media will forget about this, right? And they're going to have to pick up the pieces. They're going to have a tremendous amount of destruction that they're going to have to come back from. And I don't know that this is updating. Are you on the iPad talking or on the regular? Okay, go ahead.
And I have nothing for you. I've looked, so don't take my video at the moment. But what I was going to say, the odds of that island getting hit like that are infinitesimal. What is that? That Caribou Island, 10 miles long and like 2 miles wide. I mean, come on. I mean, the odds of that are nuts. And it went right over it.
Right. It looks like that system's developing down there in the Caribbean, by the way, that area behind Beryl.
Yeah, we'll have to watch that.
I mean, look at it down there. Even on the panned out view, you can see it's gotten a little rotation going there.
Whoa, where did that come from? Because there was nothing there when I looked earlier this morning and last night.
Yeah. No, this isn't updating. In fact, this timestamp, it's still loading, but
Can you go get another satellite image, or do you want me to grab it for you on my screen share over here?
No, I can get it on the floater. No, this is current. It's uploading. Hold on.
Okay.
Yeah, it's current. It's current. There we go. It just had to load. Of course, it's a little bit behind the radar image, of course. It's because it only updates about every 20, 30 minutes, I think.
Yeah.
And now here's the radar. I mean, you can see the radar's maybe a little out in front of it.
Well, the radar's probably updating every 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah.
While that satellite is every 15. Used to be every 30. The technology's advancing.
Yeah, see, I don't think this Caribbean composite radar is accurate. And the reason why, if you match it with the satellite, the eye is not touching the coast. But on the radar composite from the Caribbean, it shows the eye touching the coastline. And I just don't think that's happening.
No, there's no way. No way.
So I think that we're going to go with the Cuban radar. I think that's more accurate, this one here.
I would, and Jim, for archive purposes, I would omit anything from that composite radar. I just don't like it. I think it's wrong for archive purposes.
I still think that eye wall, if you look at that radar there, that eye wall is touching the coast right now. So it's, I mean, one wobble, a mile or two wobble to the north is going to bring those red bands right into some of those coastal communities down there on the southern coast. So let's take a look at those on the Google Earth. So I'm panned in. I'm zoomed into the area. So let's tell you where the eye wall is. It's right here, like that eye. Well, that's not right. Never mind that. The eye is down here, and the eye wall extends right up to here. So, you know, that's about, so you got Alligator Pond here, you got Treasure Beach, maybe back over, no, I think they've already dealt with it over here. Junction, the town of Junction. So let's zoom in on some of these areas and see what they look like. So first of all, right along the coast, there's nothing, right? So let's measure this. It's like a half a mile of coastline that has no development on it. So these are all just, it's like mountainsides over here. You're talking a half a mile or greater until you get to the population zone. So you almost have to be a mile inland with some of those bands for these houses to get raked. So based on the radar, let me pull that up one more time.
And thank goodness for the Cuban radar, or we would have been screwed.
Yeah. Yeah, so see that little point on the Google Earth right there? That little point is the same as that little point on the radar right there that sticks out like an arrow, right near where the eye wall is, where the yellow area is. That is,
touch me.
Yeah, it's just clipping it. I mean, and again, the first mile inland is nothing but mountainous, let's see if we can get to street level at all here.
I doubt it. You can try it.
No, they don't have any available. They do over here, just north of that little point. Let's take a look at this. Okay, so there's what the ocean looks like from, and we're aiming south now, and that there's Hurricane Beryl out there somewhere, and that's that little arrow jutting out, that little mountain range back there. So that's a pretty elevated area there. Look at that. That's
Jim, do you have some elevation maps that we can look at before we call it an evening?
I do. But you can see when you look at the coast, it kind of goes upward, like elevates up. It's probably like 10-foot elevation here, maybe off the ocean. There's a little house, kind of nice looking.
Yeah, that's very well built right there. I mean, you got a little hut thing over there, but that might be like an outdoor deal.
Yeah, it's a little picnic area.
Yeah.
Look at the house next door. It looks pretty well built. But the water's got to come up a little bit, to get in there. And again, the winds are going to be coming like this. So I don't know. They're not coming in like this. So maybe they'll escape the high surge because the winds are going to be blowing like this.
Well, and they're elevated a little bit, so wouldn't they be protected anyway? It would have to come dead end on them before that would become a problem, no?
Yeah. So again, that's the area that's being impacted, and again, areas like Southfield. There's a Sea Coast Inn Suites. I guess a little hotel for people to stay at. Let's take a look at that.
We have a picture, yes. Or do we?
Why am I? It's stuck in.
Freeze on? No, there you go.
Well, I was going to show a picture, but it's not letting me click. But see, again, it's about a mile off the coast where you start getting the populated areas. And, I mean, there's the picture of the hotel. It looks like a pretty decent hotel. Looks like well-built homes. They all have their own little farmland attached to them. That's pretty neat. I guess they all do their own farming. It's like a farming community here.
Yeah, they do a lot. That's another thing about Jamaica. They do a lot of sugar cane and stuff like that on that island.
Some of these are two and 3 story structures down here. Got some really nice houses down here.
Yeah.
But I mean, they look well built. It's going to take a lot of wind, and again, this is weakening, a little bit. Again,
you
all these.
Remember, this is I mean, it's been 88, so I'm 42 years old, so I was 6 when this occurred. Gilbert is their benchmark. This is not that. Like I said, this would be more like a Dean of 2007 scenario.
Here's a place that's right on the coast. Let's take a look at this.
Got a picture? Yeah.
So look how mountainous. See how the elevation quickly goes up here. I mean, I don't know if that's some kind of a processing plant of some sort, like maybe salinity plant where they make fresh water there, perhaps.
A desalinization plant? Yeah.
But that's right, again, where that radar is showing that yellow band and red right up against there. Just let me refresh this.
One thing that they may deal with.
It is on shore now. Here's the latest image. Look.
No, it's on shore now. Damn.
Yeah, so they're getting raked now. That yellow is on there, and those are probably 120, especially in that orange band that's coming on there right now. So that little hut we showed you a little while ago, that little single house by itself, that's beginning to feel this now. And all these towns in here, Alligator Pond. I hope there's no alligators in there. They're all going to be roaming. But see, the wind, here's the thing though, the wind is coming in like this, right across like this. So the surge, again, I don't know if it's going to come in. It's kind of hilly terrain anyways. It's elevated here. So it's the wind that's the big problem here. These winds coming in like this.
What I would be worried about on that island, based on what I'm seeing, and a friend of mine also talked to me about it, they worry about the wind and then mudslides coming off the hillsides.
Right. That's another thing to factor in. Yeah, for sure. So yeah, it's really elevated, and you got this river running down here, and I guess everything escapes into this river and it exits into the Gulf and into the Caribbean. But you know,
I mean, they're in a drought situation, but when you get this much rain that quickly, you can reverse that real quick. That looks well, Bill. I don't know what that was. I just looked up.
Yeah, looks like a church here.
Yep.
Well
yeah,
built.
very well. So,
this is the closest to where the wind band is right now. That looks like that's like a hotel. It's a nice swimming pool. Looks well built.
Hey Jim, we just lost the switcher. Did something happen?
No, it's live.
I mean, maybe that's it. Just went off for me.
Huh.
Let me double check on my iPad. It's been fine this whole time until now. Because I'm watching on that screen.
I'm live. I can see myself moving around, and the satellite and the images are showing up.
All right, let me log back in.
And it's counting down as live. We've been on air now for 22 minutes and 43 seconds.
All right, I'm going to have to rejoin you on Switch. I'll be there in a minute.
All right, let me look at some observations here. See if I can pull up any. Again, Mandeville is a little bit inland from where that band is showing up right now. Northeast, this is 6 minutes ago. Northeast winds at 17, pressure 2962.
How far are we from the grill? That's another thing I want to look at.
Well, for example, let's get back to the Google Earth here. So the grill is about, I gotta pan it out more. From where the hurricane is right now, the grill is about, that pointer thing is in the way again. 60 miles away.
Okay.
So it's nowhere near the grill yet. Again, you'll look at that radar shot. Where did it go? Oh, that's right. I got the instruments open. But the observations are in Santa Cruz. So, I mean, that's way.
If you get some bad feed real quick, I got to mute my mic. So
all right.
I'm going to mute it right now.
All right. So the instruments that I just read out that only showing 17 miles an hour are up in here. So they're kind of outside the, and I think it's much higher than 17 miles per hour, by the way. Okay, you're muted on switcher and you're back on the pad?
I never left the pad. I had to reload the switcher.
Okay.
No bad feed, no, you're good.
Again, we showed you, let's see, Treasure Beach. Here's another shot of what it looks like where the worst conditions are happening right now. Beautiful shot, palm trees, nice looking beach. The hammock is going to blow away, obviously.
Where's my bottle?
Yeah. All right, am I supposed to unmute you now?
No,
And there's a shot of waves smashing up again. Look how high that mountain, the coast is there. I mean, you're just not going to get storm surge in there.
No. The only audio you should get from me is off the iPad.
Yeah, that's what I got.
Okay.
Although I have the mic. Oh, no, never mind.
Switcher's muted. Go on.
Yeah, I mean these are all elevated, so any surge that comes in there, it's. I don't think surge is going to be the issue here at all. It's going to be the wind and
flooding, like landslides and that type of thing, if it occurs, coming off the hillsides.
Again, the yellows are moving in there. The oranges are kind of fading a little bit. So it's the eye wall, northern eye wall is weakening just a little bit as it's moving on shore. But rest assured, those areas in the yellow and little orange sliver that's moving in on the pictures that I was just showing you are probably 120, 130 mile per hour winds. So that's some fierce winds coming in there on that south coast right now. And the orange is probably gusting up to 140.
You can't. I mean, I know this thing was 165 at one point. You can't. A major hurricane, category 3 and 4, is no joke. I mean, you can't. 130 is no. 120, 130 is absolutely nothing to sneeze at.
Right.
Nothing. I mean, it will get your attention, and it's the sound that wind makes. It's a haunting. When it gets that high, it's a haunting, whistling noise that you never forget. It's a different high pitch. What you got?
Still playing music.
Yeah, I've kind of given up on it. It's all music. I'm kind of over it.
Well, because those stations are all based out of Kingston, right? So Kingston is not getting it. I mean, Kingston's getting missed by this. It's the glancing blow show for them. So they're back. Wait a minute. Oh no. The Hurricane WatchNet's been useless.
Typically is useless. I'm waiting for them to discontinue that.
Yeah, see, I mean, the eye is just, according to the satellite, the eye is just not on shore. So again, let me look at that other radar.
What is right?
It's just slightly off. It's not that far off from the other radar, but it just seems like it's more on the coast than the other radar is. Yeah, see, look at the last frame there. It shows the eye partially on shore there. And it'll be interesting to see what NHC says if there's an update statement. But I think the center of the eye has to make it on shore for it to be an official landfall.
That's correct.
So if the center of the eye isn't on there, if they just have the northern part of the eye, that's not going to count.
So, yeah, if it's not the center, then technically there's no landfall, right?
No.
I mean, you can get raked by that northern eye wall, but if that center doesn't come across, forget it. Tell the person standing there, with 115 mile an hour winds, 120, they're not going to care.
It just goes to show you how small this hurricane is, because had it been a typical size hurricane where the hurricane force winds extend out 50 miles or 55 miles from the center, that whole southern area would be raked by this. But it's only affecting the immediate coast because it's such a skinny line of really intense winds.
But that's also why it blew up as quickly as it did. A larger system would not have. I doubt we would have gotten a category 5, 4, or 5 out of a larger system. I mean, it feasted because it was small. They ramp up fast.
Right.
I mean, it went from. Go ahead.
But that's not necessarily the case in all Category 5s. I mean, there's been some really large Category 5 hurricanes, so.
No, Gilbert was large.
Yeah, Gilbert. Allen was big. Mitch was pretty big. Mitch was up there, in size.
I mean, it went from nothing to a major in 42 hours.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And by major, we mean 115 mile an hour winds.
Right. Again, this is just about our current position. That'll be our position at 6 p.m. from the National Hurricane Center, 5 p.m. advisory. And that's about accurate because that's about where it's going to be in about 20 minutes or 30 minutes, right in that position right there. And again, that skinny red line would indicate gust to hurricane force or hurricane force winds within that red circle. But the donut, the fat red circle there, that's where the 140 mile per hour winds are. So, again, you pull up the radar and you can see it, the yellow bands. That's where, and they're just right on the coast. I mean, again, these areas here are getting hit really hard. Again, there's a 1 mile stretch of grassland and mountainside here. And then the winds, and again, if they're elevated a little bit here, that's going to increase the velocity of the wind. So, again, those winds are coming in like this.
Jim, if there would have been an official landfall, there would have been an update statement. I don't see any of that. All I see is the regular advisories from NHC. So I doubt we're going to get it's a mere technicality for those if you're sitting right on that coastline. If you've gotten that northern eye wall and got your ass kicked, I'm not belittling that, but I don't think we have a quote-unquote technical landfall here.
No, unless the center of the eye makes it on shore.
No.
I just don't think that's going to happen, but we'll see. I mean, we'll pay attention to that. It hasn't happened yet, so I don't expect them to announce anything.
And if it does, we'll add it to the archive. If we get that information, it'll be there.
Well, we'll know before we're off air because they'll announce it immediately. Because we're going to be off air once it clears the coast, because it's not making much northern progression. So I don't think the grill's going to get that core.
No, which is, on a personal note, makes me very happy. You know why?
Yeah. Well, you can say it out loud. I mean, it's not nothing you have to.
I have a friend of mine that I work with that lives in the grill. So yeah, he's had a long week. He's not liking this. He's been through some wars. He's about my age, but he went through Gilbert as a kid, and he's been through Ivan and Dean, and now this one.
Well, I think Dean was worse. Well, it's too early to say that just yet.
Too early to say that. I'm not going to go there yet.
Now, see, here's a building right where the eye wall is right now raking. That building, that roof is probably having some problems right now.
Yeah.
That sloped roof like that with the big overhang, those don't fare very well in high winds.
What dock. I think that might be
A lot of farmland out here.
the flooding would have an impact on their crops. So that's a story you don't hear much about.
So these are the houses that are the closest to the coast. I mean, some of these little smaller houses, like this one here, are going to be goners. You know, they get blown away.
Is that a dirt road or pavement?
I think that's a dirt road.
Thank you.
Yeah, those don't look like asphalt roads.
No, that's dirt. Okay.
No, it looks like dirt roads. Nice looking houses, though. I mean, there's some nice spreads over here. It's like a farming community, like you know.
Upper class. I mean, not super rich, but not.
Yeah, these are some of the more wealthy people that are some of the farmers. You know, the people that have a nice little spread. You know, a nice farm, and they have a nice little farmhouse.
Not gonna have anybody bother them.
And there's that little point sticking out that I was telling you about. And again, when you look at the radar, that little point is now right there under that band. See it? Right at the edge of the yellow is right where that point is that I have up on the Google Earth right there. There it is. And there's where the last frame on the radar is right touching that right now.
Now, do you think that might be the last piece of land in Jamaica that gets?
Here's a view of it.
Gets anything? Let's see.
Now, again, the hilly coastline, so surge is not an issue. Because right in this shot that you're looking at right here, the wind is coming like this, across like this. So the winds are kind of offshore. They're not coming in like this. Let's take a look at this. There's nothing there. It's a lobster restaurant right where that palm tree shot I just showed you. But again, look, it's on the other side of the point. So the winds, let me show you this again. The winds are coming across like this, and we're offshore. They're not piling up in here. So there's no surge event happening here for them.
Yeah, so it would be actually blowing the water out.
Yeah. Yep. But there's a restaurant, nice little lobster restaurant right there. It's called the Lobster Pot, and it's right there on the coast. And those don't look like they're very well built, so that might
have some issues.
So the wind, so these are elevated mountains, and you got the wind kind of coming in like this and going up over this mountain and then coming down. Yeah, there's a lot of houses in here. They look like decent, well-built homes, though. They should fare pretty well.
Yeah.
It's not densely populated, so what you will have is the wind accelerating and hitting these houses pretty good because they're spread out. You know, the wind can get in between the houses and really hit them all hard.
Nothing to block them.
That's what worries me about my house is I'm on the end of a street, and then there's a big intersection, so the wind can just accelerate right into the house.
3 words: gable ended roof. I know you've reinforced that, but we won't know till it's tested. It really hasn't been.
Okay, did we lose the radar?
Refresh it. Looks like it.
Ooh, they got a good red band moving in there now. Yeah, those houses are going to get hit pretty good.
Yeah, they're going to get smacked.
Yep. Wow. Yeah, those houses we just showed you on Google Earth there, there it is again, that point sticking out there. There's a little town in here called Great Bay Beach. Let's see. Treasure Beach. That's a little further north. I don't think the winds have quite reached Treasure Beach. Yeah, maybe.
I know we're coming up on 6 o'clock, but I'd say hang around another half an hour or so.
Yeah. We've been live for 42 minutes on part 2 of Hurricane Beryl impacting Jamaica. Jim Williams, Bill Phillips, HurricaneCity.com, covering Hurricane Beryl. Covered it Monday as it hit the Grenadines, and now it's impacting Jamaica, but they got very lucky. Kingston, the core went south of there. Probably just getting tropical storm force winds. Meanwhile, the southern communities along the coast, the same areas that were impacted by Dean, are going through the same thing again. Flagman, Southfield, Queensbury, Pedro Cross, Beacon, Little Park, Treasure Beach, all these areas are under the gun right now from that northern eye wall in southwest Jamaica.
And will be for about the next half an hour and 45 minutes.
Yep. Bull Savannah. Let's see what this looks like as a picture here. It's a typical house in the area, well built.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what this is. Some kind of a farm warehouse district or something. Looks like a little shopping plaza. That's what that is. That looks like a pretty populated area there. I mean, looking at this population, I would say there's probably, 20, 30,000 people that live in this community.
No doubt. This is not the sticks.
But again, surge is not an issue because of they're so elevated here. There's about a mile of gradual upslope on a low mountain. There's a bar and restaurant there.
I want to say these mountains are the second tallest in the Caribbean, behind Hispaniola, obviously. Might be small, but these mountains, hills have some elevation to them.
All right, we got about another 30 minutes of extreme weather. on that southwest tip of this area right here is getting absolutely annihilated right here. That's
all stuff right at the wrong time. They're getting blasted.
That is this general area, the Mandeville, Santa Cruz parish. What do they call them in Jamaica? Parishes, or what are their counties called?
I believe they use the word county. I can't give you names of everything. I can look that up real quick.
Yeah, look that up, because I don't think they call them counties. They're
might even be parishes. Let me go on. I'm going to go on mute for a second on the iPad. I'm going to voice search some things, and you don't need to hear that.
Yeah.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, I think they are parishes, but
I want to confirm that. I think it is parishes, but I don't want to talk out my butt.
yeah, that's a dangerous looking red band coming in there. Those got to be 130, 140 mile an hour gusts coming in on that coastline. That's some extreme wind. Let me see what the other radar looks like. Yeah. Yeah. It's so close. I mean, to an eye making landfall that I don't know. We'll see what NEC says. That's not quite the center of the eye, though. It's so close. It's so close. And again, if they call the landfall, it's going to be right here. Again, Treasure Beach.
That's how they do.
What are they called?
Counties. It's divided into 3 counties.
For the whole country?
Yeah. I just Googled it.
Well, here's the problem I have with that, because in the database they refer to them as hold on a minute. Like when you look up what happened in might as well let people hear that anyway, because Hurricane Dean hit there in 2007, did exactly this, almost the same exact track as this. And
I mean, it's eerily similar, yeah.
So, August 19th, Hurricane Dean passes just south with 145 mile per hour winds from the east-southeast while moving west. Significant damage to roofs and structures in southern Jamaica. Kingston and St. Andrews, severe wind damage and down power lines in Riverton City area. Also, a fallen tree caused a collapse of a residential building in Chambers Lane area of Lake Liguana. St. Andrew Historic, Sabina Park Cricket Ground reported roof damage. In Jamaica, the most severe impacts were reported in the southern parishes of Clarendon, St. Catherine, and Kingston State.
There's the parish for it again. Why is it showing counties?
St. Andrew, rather, where it was estimated that roughly 2/3 of the homes were completely destroyed or would require major repairs. Flooding in Jamaica was not generally significant, although some occurred in eastern parishes where grounds were saturated from previous rainfall. Their damages were heavy for the banana crops. That's it. And of course, last time they were hit was Hurricane Sandy in 2012, but that was coming from the south, moving north with 80-mile-per-hour winds. A far different animal than this. So, again, this is the Caribbean radar composite shot, and it's showing the eye wall onshore, but not the eye. The eye is trying. It's so close. It's so close to the southwest tip. Let me go to NHC and see if they have any updates. No updates from National Hurricane Center. So we're going to look for that and see if there is a landfall update. Because again, if you look at the Cuban radar,
and they could be struggling themselves a little bit at NHC. Because they've got conflicting radars and everything else. You don't want to make a call like that and be wrong.
see, there's the Cuban radar. The eye is just not on shore at all.
No.
Let me see if Chris is saying anything on the message board at Hurricane City, because he's usually on top of this kind of stuff.
But there is no update statement from the NHC. I've also looked, and there is nada.
5:02. 4:30. And they said Jim might be live. Wait a minute.
Check yours.
Yeah, Jim is live now. They're seeing us live.
I checked the socials. You're good.
Yeah. Yeah, they're talking about that graphic I was showing with the Hurricane Hunter data, showing how far out the winds go. For those of you that are wondering about that, it's this shot right here. It's the close-up of the Hurricane Hunter vortex messages. Vortex messages. And how far out the hurricane force winds extend. And here we are, 62 knots. That's right about the edge of the hurricane force winds. We're talking 56 kilometers, which is a little over 30 miles, maybe 40 miles out from the center. So it's not, 46 kilometers is less than 30 miles. It's like 28 miles from the center. So it's really hard to get those winds. And again, let's go back to Google Earth, because let's match it up with the radar. So here's the radar, and you can see that
34.8 miles to be specific.
Okay.
56 kilometers.
So according to this radar, the eye is about probably about, that stupid pointer is in the way again. 20 miles. That's perfect. That's right. So the center of the eye is about 20 miles south of there, and the hurricane force wind field expands out 25, 29 miles. So they're getting that band right on the coast.
Just barely, but they're getting it.
Yeah. And it's really intense, too. You can see the oranges in there. So, again, Treasure Beach, this area right here is just getting devastated. No other way to say it. 120, 130 mile per hour winds racing across there, and they're coming from this direction like this. They're coming in like that. So the water is not coming in like that.
amount of wind
And
shear that
again,
was present earlier, I'm wondering if there was some tornadoes too with this vortices.
yeah, yeah.
Because we did have some, especially in the morning, the wind shear was really evident.
But look at how high those mountains are. I mean, that's right along the coast. That's the area that's getting hit right now in that yellow area. I mean, it's hard for that surge to get anywhere with that kind of elevation. So, you know, this is a windstorm for them. This is definitely a windstorm for these people.
For the surge to be really bad, wouldn't the south to north track would be the track that would do it, correct?
Yeah, the south to north would even that wouldn't do it because it's so elevated. Over here, maybe where Treasure Beach is, this is exposed, but over here, that's all really high mountain ranges. Like that water just can't get up in there. And furthermore, the winds are coming across like this, anyways. So
I'll be right back. I'm going to look some information up.
But if you're listening, no, I doubt any of these people are listening. They definitely lost their power. But Treasure Beach, Flagaman, Southfield, Queensbury, Bull Savannah, Watchwell, all these areas are under the gun from 125, 130 mile per hour winds just racing across over these rooftops. And, it makes me sick. I mean, honestly, to think that these beautiful homes are being sandblasted right now. Because remember, these are elevated, so these aren't at sea level. These are up there, so they're getting walloped pretty good by those yellow and red bands moving on shore. And again, there it is. That's some fierce wind coming in there right now. And again, it's weakened a little bit since the 140 mile per hour forecast at 5 p.m., but probably 130, 125. And that's enough to tear roofs and do significant damage to roofs.
Jim, the highest point in Jamaica is Blue Mountain Peak, if we want to look at that on Google Earth, roughly 7,400 feet.
That's got to be over here near Kingston, on the right hand side of the island. It's got to be this island chain. I mean, this mountain range right in here.
I would think so. Yeah, but elevation 70, and that's the highest elevation point on the island. Popular hiking and tourist spot, obviously.
But again, if you're in Kingston right now, you're getting winds coming up like this. Whoops, wrong pen. The winds are coming up like this in Kingston, probably 40, 50, 60 miles per hour.
Out of the southwest now that it's gone past them?
No, probably out of the south. Probably coming in like this right now. Because again, we go back and look at that radar. See the rotating clouds coming in from the south, right on Kingston. The winds are probably due south of the south in Kingston right now.
Look at that band pulse right up as it touched. It's still doing that as it's barely touching the beach, but those communities are just getting raped right now.
Yeah, now it's all oranges and reds up in there.
Nasty.
Wow.
Nasty.
Yeah, they're getting raked. Let's go back over here again. These are the areas here: Treasure Beach, Southfield, Flagaman, Queensbury. Pay attention to that in the news, ladies and gentlemen. Those Treasure Beach, Flagaman, Southfield, Queensbury region. All these areas here are getting just devastated by
the brown spots you see in the radar. Remember, this beam's coming from Cuba, and those mountain ranges are tall, so the beam is getting blocked probably. I guarantee you that whole island is getting dumped on right now.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah, because you can see a break. Notice on the radar, like the mountain range is stopping the beam, exactly like you said. See, there's no rain in the northern part of the country, which is ridiculous.
And I wanted to make sure that was pointed out for archive purposes. That's because of the mountain range. There's rain all over that island, I promise.
And I don't mean to minimize the rainfall stuff here because that's a big problem too. In fact,
can you pull up that NHC map?
I am. I'm going there right now. Okay, here we go. Potential rainfall. Let's zoom it in.
Oops, you need to go back. Oops, you'll get it.
There it is. We're talking, 12 inches of rain.
Good.
That is some serious rainfall, and all those mountains we pointed out. That's all going to rolling down. They're going to have some. I think you're going to have some mudslide flooding problems. Do you still have those cams going? None of them are working, right? Didn't you say that?
I'll check one more time, but none of them have been working. Let me look one more time. Make sure I'm not my video's not available off the phone.
Yeah, it's off. It's off. I don't have yours up. I don't even have you in there. You're not even in there as a screen cap. Oh, yeah, you are, but you would be buried. Yeah, I don't even have you open on here.
I just wanted to make sure because I don't know what I'm going to be looking at and I don't want to see.
Yeah.
Just trying to cover your butt here. All right, go back to that radar button.
Yeah, that's a bad situation going on there.
Yeah, very nasty.
Wow.
Very nasty.
So going back to the Google Earth, so the winds are kind of coming around on the radar like this. I mean, like. Yeah, they're coming up out of the southeast over here, and then they're racing, going towards, wrapping into the eye wall, and then coming down like this. Again, Treasure Beach. We showed you what that looks like. One more time. That area, picture those palm trees just getting shredded. You know what? I think the winds in this shot would be coming like this. They'd be coming in like from this, like offshore almost.
And, we'll look for comparisons if we get aerial shots. Let's see if any of these hillsides are stripped bare. I know we saw that on the island of Carriacou, but those winds were a little bit stronger. Obviously.
There's a typical house right on the coast there. Again, assuming that house is facing the ocean, right? So the stairs are leading out towards the beach area. So in this shot, the winds would be coming from behind like this. So I don't know what that is up there. It looks like a thatch roof of some sort. I mean, that's gone. Like, you can kiss that goodbye. Up in here, there's a beach club. Yeah, there's. By the way, there's probably going to be a lot of that going on too. Dead fish. Here's a beach club. This is a view. I can't click it. No. Another view of the ocean. And again, the winds are offshore here, so they're coming out like this. Great Pond. I don't know if that's landlocked.
And
It wouldn't matter anyway. Wouldn't matter anyway.
Those cams are gone.
Okay.
They're gone.
All right, cams are done.
Let's make sure this red band gets out of here, and then we'll can. And I'm not leaving. We're not leaving this argument that this band is history off the coast.
Just about history, very shortly.
Yeah,
but it's expanding a little bit north. It's now heading up into. There's another point up in here. This point, right here. So it's getting up in towards White House, Black River area, Watchwell, Mountainside area. This area right here I'm discussing. In this area is where that band is starting to move into right now.
You mind going a little longer if I take one more look at some radio and if we can get it?
Yeah, focus on the grill though. Yeah, I mean, I guess you could try Kingston, but unless they have any correspondents or people on the West Coast over here, they're not going to get any information.
Yeah, I'm going to look for the grill, but I doubt it.
Here's an area this is called the White House, and that looks like it's well built. That's some kind of a resort community that's getting hammered right now. And then up here is Savannah Lamar. That used to be one of the cities in the database. Savannah Lamar. The eye wall hasn't gotten that far north quite yet, but it's a little chapel church.
I'll be back. I'm going on mute.
Okay. Let's compare that to the radar. Yep, it's about to approach that White House I just showed you, that fancy resort. And again, the winds, coming out of this direction. Okay, I'm having a malfunction here. Let me check that other radar. It's so close. I mean, I don't think it's I don't think it's a hit though. And again, this radar is a little bit different than the Cuban radar. Wait till that last frame comes in. Bam, bam. And we lose a few frames.
That's an average of all the Caribbean composite radars. So it's going to be off a little bit. That's probably why you can't use that for exact landfalls.
Right. No, that eye is definitely offshore. And now that we got that eye right where we need it, well, not where we need it, but right where I can measure it correctly. So the eye is probably like right here. So that band is stretching all the way up into here. That damn pen is in the way again. 20 miles. So that's why that yellow band is moving so far inland now, because the hurricane is, 15, 20 miles offshore, and the banding is about 20 miles. So it's getting up in there about, it's even reaching an area like this. Let's see what this is. That looks like a little oasis there. You can bet there's a lot of water pouring in there right now. Again, the Black River here is really getting it. There's a bridge going over the Black River. This is interesting. Again, I don't think that bridge is going to get damaged. I think now there are some power lines up in here, and they may get damaged. There's quite a decent looking sized town there, right on that area. And again, all these areas are getting this offshore wind right now. Black River, Brompton, Luana, Crawford, Salt Spring, Fullerswood, Barbary Hall, Watchwell, Newcomb Valley, Big Woods District, Beacon, Little Park, Treasure Beach, Flagaman, Queensbury, Southfield. All these areas are just absolutely getting raked right now by these hurricane force winds gusting up to 130 probably miles per hour in all this area right in here.
Radio in the grill is a no-go.
Okay. Wow. Even the reds are even intensifying right on the coast there. Yeah, wow. I mean, they're just getting absolutely annihilated. This whole area, Treasure Beach, again, you know, the scene with the palm tree, Watchwell, Barbary Hall, Mountainside, all these little neighborhoods down in here.
Yeah, there might be some people in their bathrooms at the moment.
Yes, sir.
Or in their fortified rooms. That's pretty nasty.
I don't
People
know
might
what
have the mattresses over them.
I don't know what that is, but that's there where the wind is blowing really hard right now. It looks like CBS construction.
I think that would withstand. I'm not worried about that.
No. These are asphalt roads.
Yep.
That looks like a big house with solar panels on the roof.
Be interesting to see, and that's a case study for this entire storm. Remember, on Monday, on that little island of Carrickville, we had an entire solar panel farm just get annihilated.
Yep. Yeah, I'm interested to hear now the solar farm. Here's an interesting view. This is from like an area behind somebody's house. Like that's kind of what it looks like. There's no way to pan it. But actually, you know what? Hold on a minute. This is an area that does have the. Yeah, there's. Let's take a look at some of this ground level here.
Oh, you got some pictures here.
Yeah. Shoo. Excuse me. Yeah, and there's the ocean right there. So that area, that visualize that, you probably couldn't even see the ocean. It's so bad there right now. But that water's being pushed out. The water, again, the winds are coming like this. And they're coming across. They're going out to sea.
So you might be getting like a vacuum effect. We've seen that with other storms where the water, you might, if you're one for the wind and the rain, you might be able to walk out several yards because the water is strong. But you don't do that. Not in this situation, but that's what can happen when the water's.
Yeah, there might be fish flopping around.
Yeah, be mindful of the little critters in the aftermath.
Okay, this looks like a resort of some sort, right along the beach.
Pretty.
Again, you know, they all live up on these hills, so the surge isn't a big deal. And again, the winds, you know, just a reference again, they're blowing offshore like this.
But you can see how the wind would really be a problem on this island. Living up on these hills. My goodness.
That hut's having a hard time.
Yeah.
What is that? Oh, those are sailboats. Okay. Catamarans.
Hopefully they were moved.
I don't think they're going to be. I don't think they'll. I think they'll be okay. I mean, there might be a lot of damage hitting them, but I don't think the water is taking them out because the winds are offshore.
Yeah, we're still.
You know, the winds are coming across like this.
Yeah.
Again, there's the view of there's the terrain of the land. Notice that there's an, you know, this is facing north. So you got all these mountain ranges out here. But
Jim, before I forget to bring it up, do you have the database still for one of these cities still bunched up? I want to say, to show you how unusual this is, I believe Jamaica's most affected time is typically September, October.
no, I think it's August, September. Let me look it up real quick.
I could be wrong. I thought it was.
Oh, and again, just real quick, there's that rainfall graphic one more time, and all that hilly terrain that we just showed you, all that water's going to be rushing down. So flooding's going to be a problem from the mountain perspective.
Yeah.
So Kingston, Jamaica generally gets hit September 7th through the 13th. That's their most common hit
Early
time.
September, okay.
Yeah, this is unusual. I mean, they usually don't get hit early in the year. I mean, look at all the hurricanes that have hit Kingston over the years. I mean, August, November, August, August, November, August, 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 August. There's the pointer away.
Yeah, my friend jokingly asked me, "Does that mean we're done for the year?" And I said, "No." No.
September, August, October. Yeah, they don't even have any July hurricanes.
And this will technically, well, yeah, this will go down as July. It's July 3rd. Formed in June.
No June or Julys.
Really unusual. This whole storm's unusual.
But yeah, that radar is really scary right now.
Yeah.
I mean, that is ferocious. That northern eye wall.
Really tightened up.
Let me look at the satellite again.
Yeah, they're having a bad day in the southwest, in those western communities. I'll be damned. He's still online up in the grill.
Well, they're not getting it that bad in the grill right now. They're just getting northwest winds, northeast winds, probably tropical storm force, according to that radar. No statement from NHC, by the way.
So we don't have a technical landfall. They
No.
would come out.
They would have come out with it by now if that was going to happen.
No, yeah. It's not. I mean, this is one of those. I mean, we've had to do this before. This definitely worth doing. You don't always get a landfall every time. And that goes to show you can still get your ass kicked without a technical landfall. Remember, hurricanes are a lot bigger than a center point. Center point matters. But if you get any part of that eye wall, look out.
Interesting. Well, that's a little bit behind the radar, but you can see the eye is right near that coast, that tip of the coastline we were told. We're Southport, and it shows how good my memory is. I can't remember one of those names of those cities that I was just listing. That's pretty pathetic.
That's pretty good.
Well, you tell me, what cities did I list?
Something Beach. That's how bad
Something Beach? Come on. Oh, God.
We're tired, man.
That is funny. Okay, White House, Fort Fawn Hill, Crawford, Santa Cruz. These are all different names than I was reading before. What happened? Galaxy Restaurant and Bar. That's gone.
Oh.
Crawford. Hodges. Petersville. Beeston Spring.
Why are all these different, or are we just?
I'm a little further north. Sorry about that. Treasure Beach, Flagaman, Queensbury, Southfield.
Yep.
That was was getting hit earlier. Now it's shifted a little further north. Oh, by the way, I just wanted to show you this real quick before I switch to back to the radar. This is from Brian McNulty showing the heat content in the Gulf of in the Caribbean Sea. I mean, that is some deep. What oceanic heat content is the depth of the sea surface temperatures are 78 degrees or higher. And the further down it goes, the brighter the colors you see on the on that picture there. The further down those temperatures go. So right where this hurricane is right now, or right where it traveled through, it had some major oceanic heat content to tap into. So that's probably why it's surviving this year and flourishing. I mean, it's tapping into some of those really warm sea surface. Those aren't temperatures, by the way. Those are temperatures that are able to support a hurricane and how deep they go into the ocean.
And what Jim is talking about is hurricanes upwell a lot of water as they come across. What that red is showing you is what that storm is doing nothing but bringing up warm water right now. So it's feeding on that. If it was if you didn't have that depth of water, you'd have upwelling and it could choke itself off. It's also moving at 22 miles an hour.
Well, that's why if you look at this, like look at Jamaica, see around the coast it's all white because that's shallow water. Though there's no way to measure it where it's shallow.
Yeah. I'm amazed how quickly this thing ramped up. Usually when they're moving fast like that, they can struggle. That just shows you how perfect the environment was.
Yep. See, now areas like this are being impacted up here. Barbary Hall, Williamsfield, Watchwell. Let's see what that looks like. That's a church. And that's a corrugated roof. That's blown off for sure. I mean, look at that roof. It's flim-flammy aluminum. That's gone. That's de-roofed. For certain. I'm not even speculating on that one. That's for certain. That's right up in here. In the area that's been under the eye wall for quite a while now.
All right, I'm going to go on mute one more time, and I'm going to look for Radio Jamaica or a radio station to see if we can squeeze a little bit more information before we go off air for the evening.
All right. Looks like a well-constructed building here that's taking the direct hit. Again, this is the White House, that resort I was telling you about. That's taking a full brunt of this right now.
Where'd my...
Yeah, that's current. That's a current satellite because the eye is, right, right there. I mean, right off the coast. That's about current. I think the grill actually might get some of those yellow and red bands. Yeah, those are some ferocious winds coming across there right now.
All right, audio only, but we're going to take this.
All right, go.
One second. The Palisados report, the Palisados Road rather, we've heard that's blocked. We heard the police saying the Goshen main road is blocked. What are some of the major roads that you've also been getting reports of so far, Stephen Shaw?
Jim,
you got that?
Yeah.
Okay. We have had reports of roads along the coastline from Port Antonio into St. Thomas, from Morant Bay leading to Harbour View. So the roads that would have been impacted would have been like Roselle out in St. Thomas. In Port Antonio, the stretch from Folly to Fair Prospect, we have had a number of issues there to include fallen light poles, fallen trees. Importantly though, we have not experienced any flooding in any of those spaces. The damage that we have seen, or the impact that we have seen to date, mostly is associated with fallen trees impacting roads. As I speak, actually sitting in our emergency operations center, where we are collating the information as it comes in, and we have some 49 reports as of this hour, and the calls are still coming in as it relates to issues. Most of these issues, Dion, are coming out of the parish of Portland, and we that would have been Portland is where we would have seen not just trees but storm surge, fallen light poles, landslides impacting roads.
Okay, nothing so far from South Coast, because we've been getting reports of what seems to be pretty serious damage in some sections of Clarendon, like Mitchell Town, for instance.
We have not gotten the reports in the center as it relates to the south, and I was actually intent on calling persons in that space, because I know, based on conversations that I would have had earlier today, and I had one conversation too with Evan from the Met Office, I expected that we would have had some challenges on the southern side, given what I would have seen earlier with what transpired along the road to Port Royal, being part of the southern belt. And knowing the weaknesses that exist in the Mitchell Town, Portland Cottage, Racecourse, those areas of Clarendon, I am not surprised that there are issues in that space.
All right, and Evan back with us now. So because this Beryl continues to affect us as a category 4, Evan. So
that is right.
And we're getting into night, if not night now. What can we expect for the next few hours into the night?
Well, we expect that the center of the system, the eye of the hurricane, will continue moving to the west-northwest. It will begin to move away from the island this evening in another hour. See the center moving away to the west. However,
all right, I'm going to have to let Evan go. We're not hearing. My apologies, listeners. We'll try and get an update for you, but let me just go to the bulletin which was sent out, in which the Meteorological Center does say that rainfall associated with the core of the hurricane will continue to spread across the island for another several hours. Accumulations of 100 to 200 millimeters expected today, and strong winds nearing hurricane force are expected over sections of mainly southern parishes today as the eye moves close to the coast, with tropical storm force winds likely over other parts of the island, and dangerous storm surges and battering waves will continue to affect coastal areas of the island. So, Stephen Shaw, how soon now?
200 meters is 8 inches, by the way.
Until storm has moved away before you can start.
The words right out of my mouth. We have actually been moving, Dion. We have actually been moving into some of the spaces. But of course, we have to do our own risk assessment, and where it is too risky for us to respond, then we say to persons just hold, and as soon as we have determined that it is safe for us to go into the spaces, then we will. But you did say earlier that night is falling, and it is falling quickly. So in some instances, we will not be able to respond tonight, especially where you have light poles with wires dangling all over the place. We have to make sure that it is safe. The wires are not charged or anything like that before we can go in and do the cleaning and clearing to get persons moving once more. I know, especially in some of the rural areas, the persons are quite adept at self-help. But even so, we still have to go into the spaces, and because that will maybe reopen our road to single lane. We have to go in and fully have them fully reopened as quickly as we can.
All right, and you mentioned light wires there. Just to say to our listeners, we'll be talking to Winsome Callum of JPS a little later in the program to get an update on what's happening with that situation. Stephen Shaw, appreciate the update as always. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Stephen Shaw of the National Works Agency. We had with us as well Evan Thompson of the Met Office. And again, my apologies, but his line was a little bit too bad. Couldn't keep him on. But stay tuned. We'll have updates for you throughout this extended edition of Beyond the Headlines. We're back in a moment.
Pay bills or shop online using your Access Plus debit MasterCard. Switch or apply for.
All right, let me check the Hurricane WatchNet real quick. See if anything's coming in on there. Seven. No, the signal's too far away. Here we go. All right, Bill, are you with me at all? You hear me? Okay, I think we're going to go ahead and can it here because I'm looking at the latest latest radar shot here, and it appears that the bulk of the high winds core is now moving offshore. So that's one more. Let's just take one final look at everything here, and here is our satellite close up. And you can see in that last shot on the satellite that bright whites, those hot towers on the north side of that eye wall, moving through those towns we were telling you about.
Like one more hook, one more punch from the boxer on the way out.
Yep. Mountainside, Watchwell, Treasure Beach, Black River, White House area, middle quarters, up towards Bluefields, and then anything north of there. What?
Queensberry, earlier.
No, there's no Queensberry.
I thought I heard Queensberry.
No.
Butchering.
Now you're just making things up.
Oh, God, I'm tired. I'm revealing names.
Can I have Queensberry for 100, Dawn? Or who think of a good show host name?
Please edit that
out. So, Alex, 300 on Queensberry.
He's looking at me like, where the hell is you?
Just throw any name out there. That's terrible.
That's terrible.
All right. We're going to need to laugh anyway. Oh, my God. All right. All right. Final look at the radar. There it is. The core of the really violent weather is now moving out of southwest parishes of
Look at that last
Jamaica.
frame. It's almost like a radar was out, and then it came back. Because you see the rain?
Yeah.
You see the rain covers the whole island now.
Yeah. Yeah. There's going to be a lot of flooding, mudslides. It's going to be a mess. I mean, Jamaica is really taking a hard hit. Even though the core raked the southern communities on the southwest coast, the whole island got hit by the hurricane, the envelope of tropical storm force winds. And the southern regions got all the high extreme winds that are going to tear roofs off. So this is going to be bad. You're going to hear a lot of damage reports come out of those southern districts.
Next stop, the Yucatan in a weakened state. That's the next stop.
That's right. It's supposed to.
South of the Caymans.
Yep, pass south of the Caymans. Again, there's our shot of where it is right now, and there's where it's going to be at 7 p.m. here. That's about where it is right now, actually. And then let me just zoom out a little bit and show you what's going to happen. It goes south of Grand Cayman, so it's going to clear. It's not going to hit, the hurricane force winds are not going to hit Grand Cayman. It's going to pass south of there, so they're going to be considered as a brush. So that's it. We'll have an archive of this, assuming the news is going to be bad coming out of Jamaica. That's going to be it for our coverage on Hurricane Beryl. Thank you, Bill, for your help, trying to pull images and cameras up and whatnot. And we'll see you on the next hurricane, folks, unless this pulls a surprise and becomes a major for the Yucatan or a major for the United States.
Well, I didn't think we'd be doing Jamaica earlier in the week. I thought this was going to pass south, but I was proven wrong. We ended up having to do it.
Yep. All right. Well, good night, and thank you all for watching.